Now on Denver 7 News at 4. Ian rolled through Florida as a Category 4 hurricane, decimating the area and leaving millions without power.
The historic and catastrophic destruction from Hurricane Ian is coming into focus today. And the new efforts to preserve and protect those schools that made sure Black children had access to education before they were allowed in public schools.
Plus, vacant space downtown gets a makeover. How these high-rises will soon house Coloradans wanting to live the downtown lifestyle. And you're taking a live look at Hardee County, Florida tonight, where flood recovery is underway. Just one of the many sites where Hurricane Ian shredded through the peninsula Wednesday night. Thank you for joining us on Denver 7 News at 4. I'm Micah Smith. Right now, the death toll stands at 7 people, but those numbers are expected to climb. The Category 4 storm sliced southwest Florida with winds of up to 140 miles per hour, peeling roofs from homes, and the dangerous 12-foot storm surge scattered debris everywhere. The high water stranded families who thought they could ride it out. Ahead of his visit to FEMA headquarters, President Biden got on the phone with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and approved the state's emergency disaster declaration, unlocking federal funding for the long recovery ahead.
We're continuing to see deadly rainfall, catastrophic storm surges, roads and homes flooded. We're seeing millions of people without power and thousands hunkered down in schools and community centers. They're wondering what's going to be left. What's going to be left when they get to go home, quote unquote, home?
Now Ian is on the verge of powering up to hurricane status again as it moves over the Atlantic, taking aim at South Carolina.
We're getting our first real pictures of the catastrophic damage across Florida today from Hurricane Ian. It will take days or even longer to really know the full destruction from the storm. Alexa Liaco is in Port Charlotte with a look at what they're dealing with.
In Port Charlotte, the cleanup is underway, and unfortunately, a lot of flooding is still persisting. You can see the water's about to my mid-calves, and we're standing on the sidewalk, so just off the sidewalk in the street, that water's about 6 inches deeper, and that's caused a lot of cars to get stuck in here. You can see some pickup trucks down there are braving this flooded roadway, but some of the smaller sedans did not make it. And the flooding is still persisting in a lot of neighborhoods throughout here, but it's mostly a lot of wind damage and destruction left by the battering that Ian brought yesterday afternoon. We spoke with residents who actually rode out the storm inside their own homes, and they said it was probably the most frightening thing they've ever experienced.
It went from 0 to 100 in seconds, and it literally sounded like a freight train for about 2 hours straight. It would not leave.
My dock, there's no more dock left in my backyard. It's underwater, and most of the pilings are ripped out of the ground and just floating.
Now, in all of this damage and destruction, there has been a lot of good. Neighbors checking in on each other, helping clear branches and make sure properties are okay. And we've even seen people hauling total strangers out of flooded roadways like this one. Now, they all know that the cleanup is going to last a long time, and power is still out here, so there's still a long way to go until things feel even at least somewhat back to normal. In Port Charlotte, I'm Alexa Liaco.
Stay with Denver 7 as we track Ian and its impact as it moves over Florida. We'll have updates on air, online, and on the Denver 7 Plus app. Some other headlines we're following tonight. The Senate has passed a stopgap bill to prevent a government shutdown this week. The measure provides enough money to keep the government funded through December 16th. That pushes a potentially major fight on funding until after the midterm elections. The bill keeps all federal agencies afloat and also provides $12 billion for Ukraine. It passed on a bipartisan basis and now heads to the House. If it passes there, it will also require President Joe Biden's signature. If the bill isn't signed by tomorrow, it could result in a government shutdown. Erie police are asking people to come forward with more information about a possible attempted abduction. This happened last Thursday near the Latitude neighborhood. Police say a 9-year-old girl took this photo of this white Honda Civic missing its front bumper. She told police someone inside tried to get her to go with them. The girl ran away and told her dad. Her dad followed the car and called police, but they got away. Again, the car is missing its front bumper. The greater Chaco region makes up nearly 8,000 square miles of New Mexico and is home to thousands of Navajo and Puebloan families. The area is the birthplace of many ancient traditions and history. They don't want unchecked oil and gas drilling happening in their home. That's why tribal and environmental groups are taking their arguments to federal court in Denver today. They called for the court to reverse the approval of 370 Trump-era oil and gas fracking permits in the greater Chaco region. They also claim they're not getting help from the Biden administration, which they say is defending the permit approvals in court. Tribal groups say oil and gas extraction has encroached on sacred sites and add that it creates pollution, contaminates water, and threatens public health. I spoke with both groups earlier today, and we'll have the full story for you on Denver 7 News at 5. Colorado business leaders still have low expectations about the end of the year. The new Business Confidence Index from CU's Leeds School of Business was the 4th lowest in its 20-year history. No surprise, inflation was the greatest concern among panelists, but that's now followed by interest rates and then supply chain and worker shortages. There is one bright side. Colorado's employment recovery is still outperforming much of the country, increasing nearly 2% above the pre-recession peak.
Amid surging consumer prices and rising interest rates, the economy shrank at 0.6% from April through June. The newsfeed starts with that new number out today from the government. It's the second straight quarter of the economy contracting, which usually means we're in a recession. But many economists don't think that's the case because of how good the job market is doing. Well, jobless claims have hit the lowest level in 5 months. The Labor Department said today applications for unemployment benefits dropped to 193,000 last week. That's down from 209,000 the previous week. This comes as 4 in 10 older Americans are delaying their retirement due to the rise in living cost. According to a nationwide Retirement Institute survey out today, that's double the amount from 1 year ago. The report shows delayed retirement has impacted team morale, mental health, and workforce productivity. Thousands of people die from sickle cell disease every year, and research shows these cases could be prevented. The new recommendation so better screening and treatment can happen more often.
And later, finding success while feeling fulfilled. We'll take a look at how one nonprofit in Lakewood is expanding opportunities for Coloradans on the spectrum.